Hello, everyone, and welcome to Convincing Cover Letters. This is the final session in this series, and we will be talking about kind of some professional tips for cover letters. I'm Heather Rickrell, and I work with UWS Career Services. So, what we'll cover today is the purpose of the cover letter, what are some length considerations for the cover letter, using care in your greeting line, what to write in each section of the cover letter, and then I'll share some cover letter resources. So, to get started, let's talk about the purpose of the cover letter. It really goes with the resume as a part of your application materials. And then if you wrap the interview in there, should you get one, that's kind of the total package of your personal branding. So it is an accompaniment to the resume. It serves as a writing sample so the employer can see your writing style. It's also meant to interest the employer in taking the next step. So reading your resume typically. Um, you also want to give the recruiter or the hiring manager a more detailed view of your accomplishments. So you're adding detail and a sense of what you'll bring to the table if you're hired. So those are really important. More detailed view and a sense of what you bring to the table. And then the last point here, strong cover letters provide a connection between your goals and the company's values. And we'll touch on that a little bit more coming up. So how long should the cover letter be? This is a really common and it's a really important question. You want to make sure that you're not repeating your resume. You're not writing it out or summarizing the resume. That's absolutely not what the cover letter is for. So you should shoot for no more than one page. But there's one exception to that. If the company or the organization asks you to address all of the qualifications, and let's say there are 7 of those qualifications, chances are that to adequately address how you meet each of those qualifications, you're probably going to end up on a second page. That would be the only exception. Employers really encourage a length of between 250 and 400 words. So anywhere between about half of a page and 3/4 of a page is what they prefer. So you want to be concise. You'll stick to 3, maybe 4 paragraphs. And to help yourself be concise, you will write confidently, or I want you to write confidently. So avoid weak and wordy tenses. So things like I will have had, instead say I have. Instead of starting sentences with I think or I believe, just start with I am. That will really help you avoid additional words and then also project that confidence piece. Using care in the greeting line. I'm sure most people haven't really thought too much about how important the greeting line is, but it's a piece of detail that can say a lot about you. So never ever use to whom it may concern. To an employer, this signals I'm lazy and I didn't take time to try to figure out who a contact might be or how I might address this. I just took the easy way out. So never say to whom it may concern in your greeting line. In your cover letter, don't risk being too informal in any portion of your cover letter. So, what I mean by this is don't go with dear and then the person's first name. That's too informal. Also, don't assume that they know everything about you. That's an informal mistake. Stay formal. Be exceedingly careful with Mr. and Ms. And don't use Miss or Mrs. MRS, period. You don't want to accidentally misgender anyone. So oftentimes students will say, well, then I can use MX period, right? The non gendered version of that. This really doesn't have wide acceptance in the workforce, so I wouldn't encourage you to use it. What I would do, if you can, is use the title and the person's last name. So, Dear Director Simmons, Dear Manager Cox. You can also use the first and last name. So, let's say Dear Jabril Darvish. Please note that in all of these, I am using a comma at the end of the dear line, which is exactly what you should do. It should not be a colon. The bottom line there, bottom bullet, you can always use one of those options as well. So, dear hiring committee slash manager, dear human resources, or dear search team. So now on to what to write in each section of the body of the cover letter. The first paragraph is your introduction. Write the for which job you're applying. Excuse me there. Be creative about this though. Try not to go with, "Hi, my name is Heather and I'm applying for this position," because first of all, your name is at the very top of your cover letter in your name block. Um, if this is the only position they have open, then they know what you're applying for. So try to think creatively about it. Some of the best cover letters say something like, "My interest in becoming a software engineer started with," or "My enthusiasm for working at such and such a company stems from," something like that. You do want to let them know how you heard about the opening, and you do want to express your interest and enthusiasm. So find a hook, find some way to express that to them, and get them engaged so they really read through and internalize your cover letter. Paragraph 2, which may lead to a third paragraph. This paragraph, maybe two paragraphs, this is your pitch. So it's you selling, what you've got to offer. So you really want to focus on the context of your content. So that means quantifying and showcasing your skills in action. So you want to highlight any achievements. You definitely want to quantify all of those good things. Some of the bigger pieces, telling how you envision your skills and experience in the open position, to improve on what they've got, or to share ideas that you might have for an initiative or a problem that they've pointed out. You also want to show that you've done your research, so referring to their data, their initiatives. Um, uh, the other piece of research would be about writing how your values and philosophies, practices align with those of the company. So you'll have to research that and really figure that out. They might hint at it in the job announcement, but chances are the website, potentially their LinkedIn, maybe some news articles, things like that, will give you better insight. And essentially, what it all boils down to in paragraphs 2 and maybe paragraph 3 is you're writing about how you can be the game changer for them. How can you poise them to be in success, a big success? Okay. That is what the meat of the cover letter is all about. For that final paragraph of the cover letter, you want to thank the reader for their time and for considering your application. It is a lot of work to be a hiring manager or to be on a search committee. It takes a lot of time and effort, especially if you are at a company in a field or in a position, hiring for a position that will get a lot of applications. And very time consuming. You want to let them know you're looking forward to talking to them about how you can use your skills and experience, whatever it is you have to offer at their company. You want to note the preferred method of contact, so choose either phone or email based on whichever will get a message to you faster. Um, if you have hours that you're generally not available, you can briefly note that. So, for instance, sometimes students have said to me, "Yeah, I'm in class from 8 to 2 pretty much every day." So go ahead and note that, so that they know that you will probably not be returning a call until, after 2 on a general day. Or if you're not available, afternoons or after 4 or whatever it may be. It's okay to note those things. The last thing is consider whether or not you want to note any enclosures or other files. You can do this in the final paragraph, or you can note it below the signature, but you shouldn't do both. So here's the advantage of noting it in the final paragraph is that it will take up only one line of space, whereas if you do it in the uh, signature area below the signature, it will likely take up 2, maybe 3 lines. And if you don't have that space to give, that can be a problem. So do carefully consider what you'd like to do there. One of the last things here is proofread, proofread, proofread. Um, Mistakes in cover letters, there's never a good reason to have a mistake. They often can get you disqualified, or at the least, they can move you down in rankings. Many times, a hiring committee or a hiring official will consider what I have in quotations here, what's the quality and presentation of application materials. And so, grammar mistakes, other mistakes can bring you down in this category. Some of the common things we see in cover letters are bullet number 2, copy and pasting the name of the organization, the address or something, title, something like that. Um, Forgetting to do that or putting the wrong one in, if you're sort of just recycling your cover letter, which you should not do, by the way. You should be writing a new cover letter and tailoring it for each position. But I also understand there may be pieces that you want to reuse. So these are really common mistakes. They shouldn't happen if you're proofreading. Um, think about who can help you proofread or review your cover letter. There may be professors, your advisor, maybe you have a coach. Definitely career services. We have virtual drop in hours. You can also always send your documents for review to career@uwsuper.edu, and you can get feedback that way. Let's see. If you're ready to write your cover letter or ready to continue working on it, there's a letters page on the UWS website, and that address is here, as well as the basic cover letter template. And really, that's just a guide of how the cover letter is laid out with the correct spacing. There's also a video on the resumes page in the video section called Cover Letters as a Branding Tool. The rest of the Convincing Cover Letter series is available on the UWS Career Services YouTube channel as well. You have full access to LinkedIn Learning as a student, faculty, or staff member of UW Superior. So you can log into LinkedIn Learning from the campus logins page. You can search cover letter, and there are many options from taking a 20-minute course on cover letters to much shorter videos on the topic. So LinkedIn Learning has a lot of great stuff on it for cover letters. And this is the last slide. That's it for convincing cover letters. I do want to thank you for joining me for this session, as well as all the Prepare for the Fair series sessions this spring. And I want to wish everybody best of luck at the Head of the Lakes Job Fair and in your job and internship search. Thanks for joining me tonight, and take care out there.